Before we learned to write, we had already learned to fear. We feared the night. We feared disease. We feared the whispers without a name. But above all fear, 7 names endured, whispered across centuries, spoken only in hush or dread. Lucifer, Satan, Beelzebub, Astaroth, Leviathan, Belial, Asmodeus. 7 princes, each rules over one realm. Each governs a single sin. They are not monsters of flesh and fang. They are structures, deep-rooted mechanisms, embedded within human society, nearly impossible to uproot. They do not merely represent religious evil. They are portraits of our most persistent human inclinations: pride, greed, lust, wrath, sloth, envy, glutton. These names echo not only in sacred texts, but in the margins of real human history and court records, monastery confessions, witch trials, murder testimony 7 in CIA psychological warfare manuals. So where did these 7 princes come from? Who divided humanity's inner corruption into a demonic hierarchy? And why, despite all progresso, we still feel their shadow? This isn't fantasy. This isn't myth. It's the residue of something far more enduring. A synthesis of religious psychology, cultural memory, and historical control. Each prince carries a backstory rooted in reality, like the blazing nightmares conjured by monks in alchemical rituals, the meticulous moral taxonomies crafted during the Renaissance, or the modern psychoanalytic attempts to reframe evil as a shadow of the self. Today, we are here to resurrect a structure nearly forgotten by the modern world, the system of the 7 princes of hell, not kings of the underworld, but emblems of the inner hell we ourselves have constructed. Their dominions are not beneath the earth, but within our desires, our institutions, our relationships, our politics, and even our technology. In the journey ahead, we will trace each prince through history, myth, theology, and psychology. We will uncover the codes hidden behind their name sand. We will ask a final, unsettling question. Are these demons merely metaphors, or are they aspects of ourselves we refuse to recognize? The 7 did not arrive all at once. They were not born together, nor summoned by a single myth. Their structure, like the shadows they represent, formed slowly, deliberately, through fear. In 1233 AD, Pope Gregory IX issued a decree that changed history, the formal creation of the Inquisition, a system dedicated to exposing heresy, witchcraft, and pacts with the devil. From that moment forward, demons were no longer abstract. They had ranks, jurisdictions, functions. A growing need emerged, not just to name evil, but to organize it. And so it began a centuries-long effort to chart hell, just as one would chart a kingdom. But the concept of 7 princes of hell wasn't pulled from the Bible. It emerged instead from the shadows of forgotten texts, most notably a peculiar and disturbing work called the Dictionnaire Infernal. In 1830, French occult writer Jacques Collin de Plancy created the most systematized vision of demonic power yet. 7 princes, each aligned with one of the 7 deadly sins: Lucifer, pride; Satan, wrath; Asmodeus, lust; Leviathan, envy; Beelzebub, gluttony; Belial, sloth; Mammon, greed. But here's the mystery: the Bible never outlines these roles. So where did they come from? The answer lies in a vast constellation of traditions: Jewish mystical texts, Gnostic gospels, apocrypha, folk tales. Heresies all blended into a mythic infrastructure that grew more coherent with time. In ancient Jewish texts like the Book of Enoch or Dead Sea Scrolls, we encounter fallen angels, beings not born evil, but cast down for disobedience. Names like Samael and Azazel appear carriers of forbidden knowledge, bringers of weaponry, magic, and vanity to mankind. As the Roman Empire adopted Christianity, these fallen gods These ancient spirits were rewritten, turned from symbols of nature or mystery into demons. Gods became devils, teachers became tempters, symbols became sigils of evil. And so, over time, a bureaucracy of hell emerged. Each prince had a court, each held a seal, each reigned over a kingdom of weakness, of shadow, of unspoken desire. And their symbols, complex, beautiful, terrifying, were recorded in magical grimoires, hidden alchemical treatises, and even cards of the tarot. In court documents from France, Bavaria, and Krakow, real men and women confessed often under torture that they had made pacts with Asmodeus, with Belial, with Satan. Time after time, they repeated the same imagery. He stood in flame. A mirror burned behind him. How could these descriptions remain so consistent across cultures and continents? Coincidence? Or the echo of something deeper, something encoded into the human psyche? The seven princes may not have walked among us, but we've spent centuries building their palaces in thought, in fear, in doctrine. Each one a reflection, each one a symptom, each one still watching. In esoteric traditions, 7 is never random. It's the number of completion, the number of celestial bodies once known. 7 heavens, 7 seals, 7 virtus. And in the reflection of those heavens, 7 princes. Each rules over a specific weakness in the human soul. We enter their kingdom sown by one, Lucifer, Prince of Pride. He was not created in darkness. Lucifer was the light bringer, the morning star. His sin was not evil, but excellence, taken too far. He did not rebel for chaos, but for glory. In history, his presence hides beneath the surface of kings and tyrants, in gold leaf palaces, in self-declared divinity, in every monument built not to house man, but to dwarf him. Pride, unchecked, becomes divine hunger. And Lucifer, architect of ego, builds temples not to gods, but to the self, to Satan, Prince of Wrath. The word Satan means adversary. He is the force of opposition, of fury, of collapse. He does not corrupt with whispers. He burns with screams. In medieval trials, the possessed spoke in tongues, tore at flesh, spat on the cross. But the same spirit marched under banners in crusades, where holy rage became sanctioned slaughter. Wrath does not negotiate. It does not reason. It conquers, consumes, and justifies itself in flame. Satan stands wherever rage wears the mask of righteousness. 3. Leviathan, Prince of Envy. In the book of Job, Leviathan is the untamable sea beast. He cannot be chained. He cannot be reasoned with. Envy his sinis, like the deep. It is never full. In psychological studies, envy leads not to imitation, but to destruction. In totalitarian regimes, Leviathan's influence whispers, if you cannot be great, destroy what is. Envy is the hunger for someone else's light, and Leviathan's teeth are those that would swallow the sun. 4. Asmodeus, Prince of Lust. He first appeared in the book of Tobit, slaying 7 grooms before they could touch their bride. Asmodeus doesn't rule over love, he twists it into obsession. During the Renaissance, he was painted as beautiful. Alluring, his danger lay not in what he revealed, but what he made you want to believe. Today, he lives in advertising, in pornography, in curated fantasies. He is the one who tells you, you are incomplete until you possess them. 5. Beelzebub, Prince of Gluttony, the Lord of the Flies. Beelzebub was once a fertility god, twisted into a demon of rot. Gluttony is not hunger. It is excess without end. In plagues and famines, the elite stored food in towers while cities starved outside. In today's world, gluttony wears digital clothing. We binge on, information. We overconsume attention. Beelzebub doesn't just ask, "Do you need this?" He whispers, "More." 6. Belial, Prince of Sloth. Belial is the absence of resistance. He is not destruction. He is decay. His is the sin of doing nothing when something must be done. The indifference that allows evil to thrive. He lives in the bureaucrat who delays justice, the bystander who watches in silence, the society that says, "It's not my problem." Belial's kingdom is made of dusty files, unread reports, and the shrugging of shoulders. 7. Mammon, Prince of Greed. Once a Syrian god of wealth, Mammon was named in the New Testament as a rival to God himself. You cannot serve both God and Mammon. Greed is not the love of money. It is the belief that only money matters. He doesn't hide in vaults. He moves in markets, in contracts, in speculative bubbles. In 2008, Mammon shook the world not with a sword, but with subprime mortgages and spreadsheets. He does not take by force. He convinces you to give it freely. You thought they lived in hell, but they've always lived with you. They are not here to destroy you. They exist in the choices you make. Each act of indulgence, rage, envy, silences, a tribute paid to a prince, and in every moment of blindness, a kingdom grows. If you believe the 7 are merely symbolic, history may ask you to reconsider. Across centuries, in whispers and in blood, their names have surfaced again and again. Not in fairy tales, but in court records, in papal archives, in the burned notes of secret societies, and in the trembling testimonies of those who claimed to see them. Perhaps they were never summoned from hell. Perhaps they were remembered. In the 16th century, English occultist John Dee, advisor to Queen Elizabeth, I recorded rituals of contact with unseen intelligences, but it was a collection of grimoires, known as the Lemegeton, or the Lesser Key of Solomon, that fully codified the demon hierarchy. Among its pages, 72 spirits of hell, many directly linked to the 7 princes, each with a seal, each with instructions for summoning, each with a warning. For example, Lucifer appears at the stroke of midnight during the autumn equinox, atop a horse of fire, surrounded by floating books and flames. Asmodeus emerges cloaked in bridal veils, 3 faces shifting between ecstasy and terror. This was not folklore. It was mathematics cloaked in mysticism, geometry, linguistics, and ritual precision. To the practitioners, it was science. To the church, it was heresy. In Salem, 1692, multiple women confessed under duress. We lit 7 black candles in the forest. We spoke 7 names. We asked for harvest, for revenge, for love. In Europe, France, Bavaria, Krakow tribunals echoed the same names: Asmodeus, Belial, Satan, and strangely, many described the same image. He stood inside a ring of fire. Behind him was a mirror, but the mirror burned instead of reflecting. Different centuries, different continents, same visions. Were they hallucinations, mass suggestion, or the scattered remnants of an ancient knowledge too dangerous to keep whole? By the 18th century, the Age of Enlightenment gave birth to its own shadows. Freemasons, Rosicrucians, the Bavarian Illuminati. They claimed to pursue light and knowledge, but hidden within their rites were echoes of the 7. Declassified writings from breakaway lodges refer to 7 stations of descent, 7 levels of desire, and, in some cases, 7 thrones below. Each ritual designed not to summon the demons but to confront them within. One inner doctrine reads, "You shall not fear the demon without, but the one that wears your name in the mirror." Were these cautionary myths or esoteric blueprints for psychological alchemy? Call to action. If this journey made you pause, If you saw something in this mirror that stayed with you, leave a comment below. Do you believe the 7 princes still walk among us? Or have they become us? Subscribe to the Astral Codex for more explorations into hidden systems, ancient truths, and the esoteric architecture of power. Share this video with someone who's starting to ask deeper questions, because once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. And turn on notifications so the next time we go deeper into the abyss, you won't miss your chance to look back at the light.